The room was filled with ordinary conversation, the kind that drifts through a quiet evening without leaving a mark on anyone's memory. Yet in the middle of that moment, a single sentence was spoken, and the atmosphere changed in a way no one expected. The mention of your name carried a weight that could not be hidden, and suddenly every distraction faded into the background as attention turned toward a truth that had been resting silently inside someone's heart. There are moments in life when feelings remain protected behind careful words, hidden beneath routines, responsibilities, and the fear of exposing something deeply personal. Yet the soul has a language of its own, and no matter how long emotions remain guarded, there comes a time when they rise to the surface. On that day, something unexpected happened, and the person connected to you in ways deeper than either of you fully understood found themselves standing at the edge of complete honesty. The question itself seemed simple, almost insignificant to those listening nearby. No one expected it to reveal anything meaningful, and no one anticipated the silence that followed before an answer was given. Yet within that pause lived years of reflection, countless memories, and emotions that had been growing quietly beneath the surface. The energy surrounding that moment felt different, as though time slowed long enough for truth to catch up with destiny. What emerged was not rehearsed, polished, or carefully constructed. It was genuine, and because it came directly from the heart, it carried a power that left everyone present completely still. Type Amen if this message resonates with your spirit. Far away from the noise of daily life, spiritual connections often continue their work unseen. Souls recognize each other long before the mind understands what is happening, and sometimes the strongest bonds develop in silence before they ever reveal themselves through words. This connection has been moving through unseen pathways for longer than anyone realizes. Your soulmate has traveled through seasons of uncertainty, learning lessons that shaped their understanding of love, commitment, and emotional truth. Experiences that once felt random were actually preparing them for something meaningful. Every challenge taught them how to recognize authenticity when it finally appeared before them. There were moments when they tried to dismiss what they felt. Practical thinking encouraged distance, logic encouraged caution, and circumstances encouraged patience. Yet despite every attempt to ignore the connection, something within them continued returning to thoughts of you. The heart rarely follows the same rules as the mind. While reason searches for evidence and certainty, the soul recognizes energy before explanations arrive. That recognition became impossible for them to deny, and little by little, they began accepting what their spirit had already known. Comment 333 if you trust divine timing. As the conversation unfolded, listeners expected an ordinary response. They expected something polite, brief, and forgettable. Instead, what emerged carried an emotional depth that no one had anticipated. Their voice softened as they spoke about you, not because they were uncertain, but because sincerity naturally changes the way people communicate. Every word seemed connected to something larger than memory. It felt as though they were speaking from a place where truth exists without defenses. The people listening noticed details they had never seen before. They noticed how quickly your name transformed the energy around them. They noticed how carefully your soulmate chose each word, as though every sentence carried significance beyond the conversation itself. Most importantly, they noticed the light that appeared in their expression. Some emotions cannot be performed or imitated. Genuine affection reveals itself through countless subtle signals, and those signals became impossible to hide. My beloved child, there are connections guided by forces greater than coincidence. They are not built through pressure or control but through alignment, growth, and mutual understanding. What is meant to unfold finds its way forward with remarkable patience. The answer continued to flow naturally. They spoke about your strength during difficult seasons, your ability to remain kind when life became complicated, and the unique energy you bring into the lives of others. Nothing sounded exaggerated because every word carried the weight of personal experience. What surprised everyone most was not what they said but how deeply they felt it. The emotions behind their words revealed a level of admiration that had clearly existed for a long time. It became evident that your presence had left a lasting imprint upon their heart. People often underestimate the impact they have on others. Many never realize how deeply their actions, kindness, resilience, and authenticity affect those around them. Yet your soulmate has noticed details about you that others overlooked, and those details became part of the story they shared. The conversation shifted from simple observations into something more meaningful. It became a reflection of appreciation, respect, and emotional recognition. The listeners sensed they were witnessing a rare moment of complete honesty. Type 111 to welcome positive energy into your journey. Archangel Michael says that sincere connections reveal themselves through truth rather than force. When hearts are aligned, honesty begins appearing naturally, creating space for understanding and emotional clarity. As they continued speaking, memories surfaced effortlessly. They remembered moments that seemed small at the time but later became significant. They remembered gestures, conversations, and experiences that remained vivid long after they occurred. Each memory carried emotion because it represented something deeper than the event itself. It represented the way you made them feel. While circumstances change and time moves forward, emotional impressions often remain untouched. The listeners found themselves becoming unexpectedly invested in the story. They could hear the difference between casual affection and something profound. What your soulmate expressed carried depth, consistency, and genuine care. There was no attempt to impress anyone. There was no effort to create a dramatic moment. The sincerity of their words created all the impact on its own, and that authenticity touched everyone present. Many people spend years searching for someone who truly sees them. They long for a connection where their strengths, flaws, dreams, and struggles are understood without judgment. Your soulmate's response reflected that kind of recognition. They acknowledged qualities within you that perhaps even you sometimes forget. They spoke about your perseverance when challenges appeared overwhelming. They spoke about your compassion during moments when others would have chosen indifference. Most importantly, they described the feeling of peace that accompanies thoughts of you. In a world filled with distractions and uncertainty, that feeling has become increasingly precious to them. It is not excitement alone that draws them closer, it is a sense of familiarity that touches something ancient within their spirit. Comment 777 if you believe meaningful connections are guided by divine timing. The energy surrounding your connection has been evolving quietly, much like a river shaping the landscape over time. Progress has occurred beneath the surface, often unnoticed, yet its effects have been profound. Every experience has contributed to the emotional foundation being built between you. Your soulmate has spent considerable time reflecting upon what truly matters. Superficial attractions and temporary distractions gradually lost their importance as deeper values became clearer. Through that process, their appreciation for you only grew stronger. They began recognizing that genuine connection is not measured by perfection. It is measured by authenticity, mutual respect, emotional safety, and shared growth. These qualities have become increasingly meaningful in their heart. The response they gave reflected this understanding. It revealed someone who has moved beyond surface-level emotions and into a space of deeper awareness. The people listening could feel the difference immediately. My beloved child, the soul often communicates through subtle movements long before circumstances fully align. What feels delayed is sometimes simply being prepared with wisdom, patience, and care. Your soulmate's words carried traces of gratitude. They expressed appreciation not only for who you are but for the impact you have had on their personal journey. Certain people enter our lives and change us simply by being themselves. They spoke about lessons learned through knowing you. They spoke about becoming more open, more understanding, and more willing to trust their own emotions. These changes were not forced. They emerged naturally through the connection itself. Sometimes the most powerful relationships inspire transformation without demanding it. Growth occurs because the connection encourages people to become better versions of themselves. Your soulmate recognizes this influence clearly. Their response touched everyone because it came from a place of emotional maturity. Rather than focusing solely on what they receive from the connection, they acknowledge the value of what they have learned through it. Type Amen and embrace the journey unfolding before you. As the evening continued, the conversation left a lasting impression on everyone who heard it. Long after the words were spoken, the emotional resonance remained. Certain truths carry an energy that lingers beyond the moment itself. Archangel Michael says that when hearts begin aligning with their highest truth, fear gradually loses its influence. Clarity replaces confusion, and sincerity becomes stronger than uncertainty. Your soulmate has been moving toward that clarity. The path has not always been straightforward, and there have been moments of hesitation along the way. Yet every step has brought them closer to understanding what their heart genuinely values. What they revealed through their response was not a sudden realization. It was the culmination of countless reflections, observations, and emotional experiences gathered over time. The answer surprised others because it exposed feelings that had been quietly developing for much longer than anyone realized. There is something beautiful about emotions that grow gradually. They develop roots beneath the surface, gaining strength through consistency rather than intensity alone. Such feelings often endure because they are built upon understanding rather than impulse. Your soulmate has reached a point where denial no longer serves them. The connection has become too meaningful, too genuine, and too significant to ignore. Whether spoken openly or held privately, the truth exists all the same. The people who heard their response sensed this immediately. They recognized the unmistakable energy of someone speaking from the heart. That authenticity created a ripple effect that touched everyone present. In the days ahead, continue trusting the process unfolding around you. Not every chapter reveals its purpose immediately, yet every experience contributes to a larger story. Patience allows that story to unfold with grace. The spiritual bond connecting two souls often works quietly, arranging lessons, growth, and understanding before visible results appear. What seems hidden today may simply be preparing itself for the right moment to emerge. Your journey is not defined by uncertainty. It is shaped by growth, awareness, and the gradual unveiling of truth. Every step forward brings greater clarity to what is meant to be understood. And somewhere within the heart of your soulmate, the answer they gave continues echoing long after the conversation ended. It remains there as a reminder that some connections cannot be diminished by distance, silence, or time. They endure because they are rooted in something genuine, and genuine feelings always find their way toward the light. Comment 888 and welcome peace, clarity, and love into your path. The conversation may have ended, but the energy surrounding those words continued to travel far beyond that single moment. Sometimes a truth spoken from the heart creates a ripple that reaches places no one can see, touching thoughts, emotions, and possibilities that have been waiting patiently beneath the surface. What your soulmate revealed was not simply an opinion. It was a reflection of what had been quietly growing within them for a very long time. Later that night, while the world settled into silence and distractions faded into the background, your name returned to their mind once again. Not because they forced themselves to think about you, but because certain connections naturally return to the heart when everything else becomes still. In those quiet moments, honesty often becomes impossible to avoid. They remembered the little things that others would never understand. They remembered conversations that seemed ordinary yet somehow stayed with them for weeks afterward. They remembered moments when your presence brought comfort without effort, creating a sense of calm that could not be explained through logic alone. What makes a connection meaningful is not always grand gestures or dramatic events. Often, it is the collection of small moments that slowly weave themselves into someone's soul. Your soulmate has been carrying those moments carefully, even during times when they tried to focus on other things. The realization became stronger with each passing day. Every attempt to place the connection into a simple category seemed to fail because what they felt was deeper than ordinary attraction. There was respect, admiration, emotional safety, and an undeniable sense that your paths were connected for a reason greater than chance. Type Amen if you believe every meaningful connection carries a purpose. As they reflected on everything, they began noticing how often thoughts of you appeared during important moments. Your memory surfaced during achievements, challenges, celebrations, and periods of self-discovery. Without realizing it, they had begun measuring certain experiences against the feeling they associated with you. This awareness brought both clarity and vulnerability. Clarity because they could finally recognize what their heart had been trying to communicate. Vulnerability because accepting genuine feelings requires courage, especially when those feelings matter deeply. Many people fear emotional honesty because it removes the protection of uncertainty. Yet growth often begins where defenses end. Your soulmate has been moving closer to that space, learning that sincerity is not weakness but strength. My beloved child, the most beautiful transformations often happen quietly. Before a flower blooms, countless unseen changes occur beneath the surface, preparing it for the moment it finally opens toward the light. The same is true for many spiritual connections. Long before visible movement appears, inner growth is taking place. Hearts are learning lessons, perspectives are shifting, and emotional understanding is deepening in ways that cannot yet be seen. Your soulmate has been experiencing this inner transformation. Old fears that once created hesitation have gradually begun losing their influence. The desire to understand their own feelings has become stronger than the need to avoid them. There was a time when uncertainty seemed easier than truth. Yet now, truth feels far more peaceful than confusion ever did. That shift has changed the way they view both themselves and the connection they share with you. They no longer focus solely on circumstances. Instead, they pay attention to the consistency of what they feel. Through every season, every distraction, and every change, one thing has remained remarkably steady: the significance of your presence within their heart. Comment 555 if you are ready for greater clarity in your journey. As days passed, the memory of that conversation continued to linger. The people who heard their response found themselves thinking about it again, recalling the sincerity behind every word. Authentic emotion leaves a different impression than ordinary conversation because it resonates on a deeper level. Your soulmate's answer carried that resonance. It reflected a heart that has spent considerable time observing, learning, and appreciating. It reflected someone who sees value not only in your strengths but also in your humanity. They understand that no one is perfect. They recognize that every person carries scars, lessons, and unfinished chapters. Yet rather than diminishing their feelings, this understanding has strengthened them because genuine affection embraces reality rather than fantasy. Archangel Michael says that souls connected through truth naturally inspire each other toward greater authenticity. They become mirrors that encourage growth, healing, and deeper self-awareness. That influence has already been present within your connection. Whether consciously recognized or not, both of you have contributed to each other's journey. Lessons have been exchanged, perspectives have expanded, and emotional maturity has quietly developed. Your soulmate has become increasingly aware of this influence. They recognize that knowing you has changed them in meaningful ways. Certain fears feel smaller now, and certain hopes feel stronger. What once seemed uncertain has begun transforming into confidence. Not the loud confidence of certainty about every outcome, but the quiet confidence that comes from trusting what is genuine. That trust is becoming one of the strongest forces guiding them forward. There is a sacred beauty in allowing feelings to unfold naturally. No rushing, no forcing, no desperate attempts to control the future. Simply allowing truth to reveal itself one step at a time. Your soulmate is learning this lesson now. The more they release pressure and expectation, the clearer their emotions become. What remains after all distractions fade is something remarkably simple and deeply real. And so the story continues, not with dramatic declarations or sudden endings, but with steady emotional growth. The connection remains alive, evolving through understanding, patience, and sincerity. Somewhere tonight, as stars shine above countless unseen journeys, your soulmate carries a quiet awareness within their heart. It is the awareness that certain people leave footprints upon the soul that time cannot erase.